The Dark Angels are considered one of the most powerful and secretive chapters of the Adeptus Astartes, and in this video we'll be painting the Stoic Lieutenant from the Strike Force Augustus box set in these Loyalist colours. First we'll undercoat our model, and for this we've used Chaos Black, as it's perfect for the dark colours we'll be using in this speedy painting guide. It's also a great idea to have Abaddon Black that matches this spray, and then we can tidy up any mistakes we make along the way. The 10 paints we'll be using are on the screen right now. These are for the Dark Angels, but feel free to paint them however you like. If you're new to painting or want to brush up on some techniques, check out our Citadel Colour Painting Essentials videos in the description. We'll start by applying Caliban Green to the armour, and we'll be using our medium base brush for this. This is so we can get a good coverage into those hard to reach places, like between the backpack and the back plate. Even though that the black undercoat gives us a great start to this dark armour, we'll still need to give a couple of coats of this paint. Just make sure that you thin your paint slightly so we keep a smooth finish until it's fully dry. As we are covering most of the model in this colour, it's okay if we get a little bit on other areas while we're painting. But we do want to try and keep the undersuit, that is still black, to save time later. Just wait for the green armour to dry and then we can tidy up by using Abaddon Black afterwards. Caliban Green is perfect for the dark green armour that the Dark Angels wear. It's also named after their homeworld. Next we'll be using Lead Belcher for many of the silver details, such as the bolt pistol, the sword blade, the backpack vents, the key in the relic, and his bionic eye. Just like the Caliban Green and some of the base coats we'll be using, we just need 2 to 3 layers just to build up the colours. If we accidentally do get someone on the green armour, don't worry, it's a super easy fix at this stage. Just wait for the Lead Belcher to dry and then we can tidy back over with Caliban Green. Now we'll apply Balthazar Gold to the Iron Halo, the sword hilt, the Imperial Laurel on his leg plate, the small skulls on his belt and arms, and the key relic casing. Some of these details are quite small, so we'll be using a small layer brush for these, just getting a couple of coats onto those details. When we're done with our last metallic paint layer, it's time to change our paint water, so we don't get any metallic flakes into the rest of our next colours. Now that our paint water is changed, we can apply Rhinox hide to any of the leather details, such as the pouches, pistol holders and belts. You can also use this on his hair as well. As some of these details are near other colours that we've already painted, we will try and be as neat as possible, but mistakes do happen and we can easily tidy up afterwards. Rhinox hide is great for those leather details, but alternatively you could use Mornfang brown for a lighter colour or Corvus black for some warm black leather instead. Next we'll use Mephiston red for the sword grip, gun casing, the Purity seal wax on his back, and the gemstones on the Imperial Laurel and his bionic eye. Using our small layer brush we can get all those details done neatly and very quickly, just by taking our time. Just be super careful when doing that gemstone and the bionic eye because they are really small. Dark Angels are normally seen with the bright red gun casings, so Mephiston red is perfect for all those details across the model. If you prefer, you can do your casings in any colour that you want. Now we'll apply Wraithbone. We'll be applying this to the tabard, the Purity Seal parchment, the chest eagle and his skin. We can also use this on the sculpted base that he stands on too. For these details we'll be using our small base brush, as we want to get a very smooth finish on the cloth and the skin. As we're going over that black undercoat with our lighter base coat, we'll need 2 to 3 thin layers just to build up that solid cream colour. Wraithbone is great for the cream coloured items such as skulls and parchment, but also serves as a great base coat for our contrast paints, just like our next colour. After the Wraithbone is dry, we can apply Gilliman and flesh to the skin, and for this we'll be using our small layer brush as this is quite a small area. Be mindful that the skin is near green, black and silver areas, so we don't need too much paint on our brush. If you find there is too much contrast paint on the face, take a dry brush and you can soak it away gently. You can always reapply a little bit more after the first layer is dried. to tidy up any of those lighter patches. Guilliman flesh is one of the many contrast colours you can use for skin tones. Alternatively, you can use Fire Slayer flesh, Dark Oak flesh, or Cygor brown instead. The choice is totally yours. Next, we'll be using Ratnan Grime, and for this we'll be using it in two different ways. First, we'll be using it straight out of the pot, and for this we'll be using it to line the armour in the recesses. We'll be using our small layer brush for this, and using a small amount of paint at a time, and we'll be trying to keep a good point onto our brush. We can do this by twisting the brush onto our palette, and now we can do small thin lines between those armour plates. This can take some time and a steady hand, so don't rush, and we can always tidy up on the green panels afterwards with Caliban green to finish the armour. After that, we'll thin down 1 part Ratnan Grime to 3 parts water, and this will make a lighter shade for the Mephiston Red, Balthasar Gold and Leadbelcher details. We'll be using it lightly in the recesses of most of these colours, but we'll apply it all over the Leadbelcher. Now we'll thin down some Seraphim Sepia for applying all over the Wraithbone details. As all of these details are mostly cloth based, we just want to apply small amounts in the recesses, so they don't pool over the ends heavily and drip off. By adding more in the recesses and folds, it will really sell the idea of the cloth flowing as the lieutenant is moving in battle. By adding some to the recesses of that chest eagle, we'll give it some depth and grittiness. If you get too much shade on the top raised areas of that chest eagle, you can always tidy back up with a small amount of Wraithbone. You could stop there as you have an awesomely painted lieutenant, or we can give him a quick effective highlight on the armour. For this we'll be using Warpstone Glow and a small layer brush. A good way to make sure that we can keep our paint controlled on the model is by keeping the brush tip pointed. This also controls how much paint we put on the model as well. We'll use a combination of the side of the brush for those raised plates, and also the tip of the brush for those harder to reach places. Warpstone Glow is a bright and vibrant layer paint, and it works great in small lines to bring the Dark Angel's armour to life. If you want the armour a little bit less bright, you could also use Lauren Forest instead. And there we are, your Dark Angel's Lieutenant is finished and looking indomitable against the enemies of the Imperium. You can see that our model is based in Armageddon Dust, but you can base it in any colours you want. If you'd like to learn more about basing, check out our technical paints video all about it. For even more tutorials, tips and techniques, head to citadelcolour.com, or you can also head into a store where our friendly staff will help you out. We hope you enjoyed this painting video and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!